Jamaicans prepare for first hurricane this year. Jamaica getting ready to send troops to Haiti. Murder decline in St. James. Reggae Boys lose to Venezuela, resulting in coach resignation. This is Undiluted News. Mikey Bones reporting. Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean are now contending with the region's first hurricane of the 2024 season, with what was a tropical storm now upgraded to Hurricane Beryl. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is encouraging Jamaicans to take the steps required to prepare for the likely effects of the hurricane, which formed in the Atlantic east of Barbados and is moving westward quite rapidly. The Met Service of Jamaica has warned that the projections suggest a direct hit from Tropical Storm Beryl on the island by Wednesday. However, the Met Service also said the forecast tracker is indicating that the center could pass more than 150 miles or 241 kilometers from Jamaica's coastline. Preparations are being made for the deployment of troops from Jamaica to Haiti as part of the multinational security support mission. Details of the preparations were not disclosed after the latest meeting of the National Security Council. However, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said Chief of Defense Staff of the Jamaica Defense Force, Vice Admiral Antoinette Wemyss Gorman, advised the meeting that there were several outstanding matters to address, most notable that deployment is contingent on the finalization of critical resourcing. And in April, the Jamaica soldiers to be deployed were trained in peacekeeping skills and combat first aid by Canadian Armed Forces, along with troops from the Bahamas and Belize. And with 4 to 5 murders per day in Jamaica, the Prime Minister thinks it is acceptable and okay to send troops to another country. The St. James Police are reporting a significant decline in murders and shootings in the parish since its anti-crime initiative Operation Storm was launched more than 2 weeks ago. And during a meeting with Prime Minister Andrew Holness on Friday, head of the division, Superintendent Aaron Samuels, said that the operation has been reaping success since his team launched the offensive against criminal gangs in St. James. Now there's reports of a 28% drop in murders. And for his part, the Prime Minister Holness urged the police to take a zero-tolerance approach to fighting gangs in St. James. Meanwhile, a Supreme Court judge on Thursday ordered the release of 2 accused, including a juvenile, who were charged with engaging the police in a shootout on Mountain View Avenue 2 years ago. The juvenile and his co-accused, Tahir Fletcher, were freed following a no-case submission by King's Counsel Peter Champagne after the prosecution closed its case. The police had reported that on January 15 of 2022, 3 men who were traveling in a car engaged them in a high-speed chase from Bull Bay to Mountain View Avenue after being signaled to stop. And during a reported shootout, the police said the juvenile was shot. Fletcher and the juvenile were later found hiding in a house following a search of the area. However, under cross-examination by the defense, it was revealed that the 2 accused were only initially charged with breaches of the Disaster Risk Management Act, which was in force at the time. Additionally, the wounded juvenile, having been taken to the hospital, was never placed under police guard and was subsequently discharged from the hospital without any concerns expressed by the police. Mr. Champagne argued that the police did not recover a firearm, and the forensic crime scene investigator admitted that there was no evidence to suggest that any firing came from the car that the men were traveling in. And boy, some of these stories coming from Jamaica is like something in a fairy tale book. So the police claim that they have a shootout with gunmen, take them to hospital, but did not charge them. They were not placed under police guard either, so they were free to go home after recovering from their injuries. What a story. A 22-year-old man was sentenced to more than 62 years in prison when he appeared in the gun court last Friday. Jaheim Neal, otherwise called Tuggy from East Road in Trenchtown, Kingston 12, was before the court charged with possession of a prohibited weapon, unauthorized possession of ammunition, and 2 counts of shooting with intent. And he was found guilty and sentenced to 22 years and 6 months for possession of a prohibited weapon and 20 years and 6 months on each count of shooting with intent. The sentences are to run concurrently, meaning he will serve a total of 22 years and 6 months behind bars. Neal was charged in connection with an incident that was committed on January 7 of 2023, where he was accused of shooting at 2 men on East Road. He was charged on April 4th that same year and placed before the courts. A man was shot dead by the police and a firearm seized during an incident at a gully along Content Avenue, Kingston 10 on Saturday. And up to press time on Sunday morning, the dead man was still unidentified. Reports are that about 12:05 p.m. police were on patrol in the Content Avenue area when they observed 2 men who saw the service vehicle and ran. The police gave chase and accosted one of the men. One of the cops searched the now deceased and found a 9mm Smith & Wesson firearm in his waistband. The man the police reported attempted to disarm the cop when one of the other lawmen, in fear for his life and that of his colleague, opened fire to neutralize the threat. The man was shot and injured and taken to the Kingston Public Hospital, where doctors pronounced him dead on arrival, and none of the police were hurt during the incident. On to sports. Noah Lyle and the rest of his American counterparts are quaking in their boots after Jamaica's rising sprinting sensation Kishane Thompson won the 100 meters in a world-leading 9.77 seconds. 22-year-old Thompson now ranks as the fourth fastest Jamaican man ever, trailing only Usain Bolt's world record of 9.58, Johan Blake 9.69, and Asafa Powell 9.72. He has also seized the world lead from Ferdinand Omayalo of Kenya, who ran 9.79 earlier in the month. So not only does Lyle have to beat Seville, who came second behind Thompson, he will also have to beat the Kenyan, who no one can take lightly. Thompson, who is also Usain Bolt's height, has the same long stride and speed after about 30 meters and seems to run faster every time he has a race. He was not even exerting himself when he ran 9.77 seconds due to the extensive tests for drugs he underwent before the race. And I hope they don't do that to him at the Olympics like how they used to do Asafa Powell, where they used to pull so much blood that come race time he was too weak to run. And there are tricks to slow up Jamaican runners at the Olympics, just that I might be the only one reporting it. Shericka Jackson took the 100 and the 200 meters and will clash with American Sha'Carri Richardson, but only in the 100 meters as Sha'Carri did not qualify for the 200 meters. Sha'Carri ended up in fourth place and only the first three will run at the Olympics. In the Jamaica trial, Jackson came out of the blocks quickly and blew past Tia Clayton and won in a season best of 10.84 to win the 100 meters event. Her training partner Tia Clayton was second in 10.90, while iconic Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, Miss Pocket Rocket, took third in 10.94. Can you imagine the Jamaican relay team this year again? On to football, Jamaica Reggae Boys were beaten 3-0 by Venezuela in their final game of the Copa Championship last night. The team was outplayed by a faster attacking and a more defensive team on a night Jamaica was expected to be able to redeem themselves. And the next shocker came when coach Jaime Hallgrimsson tendered his resignation from the Jamaica squad. And according to JFF, Hallgrimsson communicated his decision to resign to the president and players early on Sunday. And it said its technical committee will now begin the search for a replacement ahead of the CONCACAF Nations League and the next round of FIFA World Cup qualifying games. And don't forget that the best news and sports takes place on this station. If you ever miss the news on this radio station, please go to YouTube, type in Jamaican Undiluted News, listen, like, share, and subscribe to keep us going. That's news and sports on your favorite radio. My name is Mikey Bones. I gone.